Assalamu alaikum. Today we will learn about a city that is considered to be one of the oldest cities in the world. As you can see, I am talking about the city of Mohenjo-daro. Here I have made a list of the learning outcomes for today's lesson. I hope they will all be fulfilled at the end of the video. As you can see here, I have made a list of the highlights of today's lesson. We will first discuss what exactly Mohenjo-daro is. Next, I will tell you where it is located and when it was discovered and who discovered it. Once we are done with the location and discovery, we will then discuss the significance of Mohenjo-daro's architectural design. After that, I will tell you about the people that lived there and shed some light on what we know about their culture. At the end, I will briefly discuss the artifacts that have so far been uncovered at Mohenjo-daro. The word Mohenjo-daro means Mound of the Dead. Before it was officially discovered, the local villagers used to find broken pieces of clay pots and human bones there, and from a distance it used to look like a huge mound of sand. This is the reason people started calling it Mohenjo-daro. The city is said to be more than 4,500 years old. This makes it one of the oldest cities ever discovered all over the world. It was part of the famous Indus Valley civilization, which is also called the Harappan civilization. The ruins of Mohenjo-daro are located at a distance of 27 kilometers from Larkana, on the right bank of river Indus. The city was officially discovered when the local villagers brought broken pottery pieces and other artifacts to Sir John Marshall, who was a civil servant in the area during the British rule. The local villagers used to dig out bricks from the ruins to use in construction of their own homes. When Sir John Marshall saw the artifacts, he immediately discovered the significance of the find. He notified the British government and an excavation was started at the site. Soon, remains of an ancient city were uncovered and recognized as a part of the Indus Valley civilization. I have included a short but very informative video from National Geographic here. I want you to pay special attention to it.
The ancient city of Mohenjo-daro is one of the first urban centers in human history. Nestled in southern Pakistan's Indus River Valley, Mohenjo-daro is the largest and best preserved city of the Indus civilization, the earliest known civilization of the Indian subcontinent. Mohenjo-daro was built around 2500 BC, about the same time the Great Pyramids were being built in Egypt, and it spanned a surface area of nearly 500 acres, an incredible size for a city of this time period. Because of Mohenjo-daro's grand scale, archaeologists believe it may have served as a seat of power for the Indus civilization. The city was divided into two districts, the Citadel and the Lower Town. The Citadel is home to the city's exceptional monuments, including the Great Bath, a 900 square foot tank fed from the Indus River. Mohenjo-daro also had a sophisticated water system. Houses had baths and toilets, and the town featured both an elaborate sewage system and fresh water in 700 wells throughout the city. The Roman baths, some of history's most famous waterway systems, weren't constructed until many hundreds of years after Mohenjo-daro's Great Bath. Mohenjo-daro has no places of worship or governance, such as palaces, royal tombs, or temples. This may indicate that the society was not built around state interests like the Egyptian and Mesopotamian societies at the time. Rather, the class structure of Mohenjo-Daro may have been relatively equal. The city's second district, the Lower Town, may demonstrate the society's egalitarian structure. The Lower Town, with its intricate water system, was home to between 20,000 to 40,000 people. Unlike many urban areas of its time, it was laid out in a grid system similar to modern-day city blocks. After approximately 600 years, the city collapsed. No one is quite sure why, but the cause could potentially have been a change within the culture, or in the path of the river. Without its crucial source of water, the city's residents may have moved away, leaving Mohenjo-Daro nearly abandoned. In 1911, nearly 4,000 years after the city fell into ruin, archaeologists paid their first visit. The ensuing decades of excavations have unearthed countless clues that tell the tale of Mohenjo-Daro, but it still holds secrets for us to discover.
Now that you have a basic idea of what and where Mohenjo-Daro is, let us discuss its architecture and its significance. As you can see here, I have made a list of 3 significant features of Mohenjo-Daro's architecture. The fact that Mohenjo-Daro had a covered drainage system more than 4,500 years ago shows that it was part of a very advanced civilization. To put things into perspective, Mohenjo-Daro was a well-planned city at the time the Egyptians started building the first pyramid. Next, warehouses for storage tell us that the people of the city were not only farmers, but they were also technically advanced enough to employ techniques to store perishable stuff like wheat, rice, and other grains in such a manner that they did not spoil over a long period of time. Now the last bit. Each and every structure in the city had strong foundations of baked mud bricks as well as brick walls. This shows that the people of Mohenjo-Daro were well-skilled engineers. I have included another video that describes the architectural significance of Mohenjo-Daro by showing a computer-generated 3D model of the city.
Town Planning and Architecture in Mohenjo-Daro. In this module, you'll learn about the town planning and architecture of Mohenjo-Daro, one of the main urban settlements of the Harappan civilization. One of the most unique features of the Harappan civilization was the development of large urban centers such as Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. Although Harappa was the first site to be discovered, Mohenjo-Daro became more well known because it was one of the largest urban settlements of the Harappan civilization. Archaeological excavations at Mohenjo-Daro reveal that the city of Mohenjo-Daro was divided into 2 sections, the citadel and the lower town. The citadel was smaller but higher, while the lower town was larger but lower. Archaeologists believe that the citadel was a fortified settlement and consisted of some important structures such as the Great Bath and the warehouse, while the lower town consisted of houses and workshops. The warehouse in the citadel area was a massive structure. Archaeological evidence suggests that the lower portion of the warehouse was made of bricks and the upper portion was probably made of wood. The Great Bath in the citadel area was a large rectangular tank which archaeologists believe was meant for special ritual baths. The tank was located inside a courtyard and was surrounded by a corridor on all 4 sides. The tank was mortared with gypsum to make it watertight. 2-step ways led to the tank, one from the north and another from the south. The tank had bricks in its edges and a huge drain on one side. Most of the houses in the lower town had a central courtyard with rooms surrounding it. The courtyard was probably used for activities such as cooking and weaving during the summers. In order to maintain privacy, the main entrance of most houses was positioned in such a way that it did not give a direct view of the interiors. In addition, no windows were present in the walls of the ground level of the houses. Archaeological evidence suggests that the buildings in the citadel and the lower town were built on platforms which acted as foundations for the buildings. These platforms were made of mud bricks that were either sun-dried or baked and were of a standard size. The length of each brick was 4 times the height of the brick, and the breadth was 2 times the height of the brick. It's very unfortunate that none of the Harappan architecture has completely survived the test of time. All we see today are the ruins of very sophisticated and advanced civilization whose architecture continues to be the center of historical debate for so many, because so much remains unexcavated and unexplored. Let's recall what you've learned. One of the most unique features of the Harappan civilization was the development of large urban centers such as Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Archaeological excavations at Mohenjo-daro reveal that the city of Mohenjo-daro was divided into 2 sections, the citadel and the lower town. The warehouse in the citadel area was a massive structure. The great bath in the citadel area was a large rectangular tank, which archaeologists believe was meant for special ritual baths. The tank was located inside a courtyard and was surrounded by a corridor on all 4 sides. The houses in the lower town were built along roads and streets that were laid out in the form of a grid. Most of the houses in the lower town had a central courtyard with rooms surrounding it. In order to maintain privacy, the main entrance of most houses was positioned in such a way that it did not give a direct view of the interiors. Archaeological evidence suggests that the buildings in the citadel and the lower town were built on platforms which acted as foundations for the buildings.
Now let us talk about the people of Mohenjo-daro and their culture. The people there wore long and loose dresses because the region had a very hot climate. They were skilled farmers who grew wheat, cotton, and rice for trade as well as their own consumption. Artifacts found in the city show that there were skilled craftsmen there who made utensils and jewelry out of precious metals like gold, silver, and ivory. Here are some of the kinds of artifacts that were excavated from the ruins of Mohenjo-daro. As you can see, clay seals, pottery, toys, statues, and jewelry have been found there. Here I have made a list of the difficult words of the chapter. I want you to find their meanings in a dictionary and make sentences in your copies. Here are some inferential questions that will help you in your understanding of the chapter. I want you to attempt these questions in your copies as well. Your homework is to complete exercises 1 and 2 in your copies.